I apologize on behalf of the black community because they are the ones that are raising money for your son's killer. They are the ones.
I'm sorry, did you say they? I apologize on behalf of the black community because they? So you are speaking as not a part of the black community. So how are you apologizing on behalf of somebody that you are not a part of, apparently? Should have wrote this down first. You should have wrote it. You would have caught that. I mean, I know you don't consider yourself a part of the community, but you at least needed to be for the statement. Hi, welcome to Racist of the Week. I am Reese Waters. This is where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination and hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can throw them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, when we last left the Karmelo Anthony case, I was keeping an eye open for how racialized the response to the case would be. And I come back. This is the judge who slashed Karmelo Anthony's bond from $1 million to $250,000. Need I say more? Yes. In fact, you should. What point are you making? Is it because she's black? Is that the point you're making? Because she's black? Because there's a comment right underneath that you should probably check out. Yeah. Are you sure that's a thread you want to pull on? Huh? Are you sure that's where you want to go? Kind of reminds me of all the people like, oh, what if we had a white entertainment television? What if we had a white music? You want to talk about what we do have? Huh? Y'all want to talk about what we do have? Is that where you want to go? Is that where you want to live? How about this one? The judge who granted Karmelo Anthony a reduced bond is a black Republican, but white nationalists online are calling her a BLM DEI activist judge. That's right. So we thought that they would have some level of discretion about who she is and what her politics happen to be, right? You thought they might have been a little nuanced in their perception of black people. Black MAGA, I hope you're paying attention. Black MAGA. Yeah, oh yeah. Nick Fuentes told y'all exactly what it was. And by the way, I'm gonna get to him later in a whole separate video, because don't think that whole rant went unnoticed. How about this one? Judge Angela Tucker is getting death threats after lowering the bond for Karmelo Anthony to $250,000, allowing his release under house arrest. The same people who crowdsourced bail for Kyle Rittenhouse are upset that bail was reduced. Daniel Penny was released on a $100,000 bond. Now, far be it for me to give Dr. Umar the first word, but I'm going to give Dr. Umar the first word. This deserves it.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to tell you what I don't like. That brother getting death threats, his family getting death threats, that's not right. Caucasian nation, when y'all unalive one of us, y'all tell us to be quiet, sit still, and let justice run its course. That's what y'all tell us. Y'all told us that with Sonia Bland. Y'all told us that with Michael Brown. Y'all told us that with Sonia Massey. Y'all told us that with Amir Locke. Y'all told us that with Ahmad Arbery. Y'all told us that with Philando Castile. Y'all said, sit still, Negro Nation. Sit still, Africans, and let justice run its course.
Huh? I tried, Prince of Positivity. I tried to wait. You know, what are you talking about? The bunny hopping. I'm not even talking about that. No, I'm not even talking about that. No, I was saying I tried to wait and let this adjudicate itself like they tell, but this is, you know what I mean? This is what y'all have done to a case that ain't even close to going to trial. And sure enough, despite seeing how they did the Republican judge, Here goes Black Maga.
On behalf of the black community, I would like to apologize to the parents of Austin Metcalf.
Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just in case you thought Rob Smith was coming from a good place, why don't we check out another video that he posted the same week as he chose to apologize for black people.
Black people, why are y'all wandering around worried about these politics and these entertainers and celebrities when you're all broke? Do you know that only 5% of black Americans in this country make $100,000 or more? That's 5%, all right? So what are the other 95% of y'all doing? I don't know why y'all are worried about these politics. I don't know why y'all are worried about these entertainers and these celebrities. You need to be worried about what's going on in your bank account. You need to be worried about what's going on in your wallet. You need to be building businesses. You need to be becoming entrepreneurs. Because let me tell you something, these politicians are not going to save you. These celebrities are not going to save you. And y'all are running around here talking about 50-50, arguing about that. By the way, y'all are the only people that argue about that. And what's 50% of zero? What's 50% of nothing? Because y'all don't have anything in your bank accounts because you are steady worried about these politics and these politicians. So unless Democrats or Republicans are paying you, unless these celebrities and athletes are paying you, you need to stop worrying about them and you need to start getting your money up. 5% of black Americans that make 6 figures plus per year is crazy. That's why we're all broke.
Now, once you get past the fact that this is the same guy who said we are the cool kids now, remember that? We're the cool kids now around election time. We are the culture. Now I want you to ignore all the celebrities and also the politicians, right? Because policy never influenced economics, right? You know what I mean? Like all that whole stuff with the tariffs and people's stocks and all that. You know what I mean? I ain't never see it. If you turn away, you don't see it. You know what I mean? I just look away. Whatever happens, happens. Now, let me ask you, would a guy who titles a video, Blacks Are Brokies, does he sound like the kind of man who has goodwill and is looking to protect and look out for black people? Does that sound like that kind of? I mean, it sounds like a 13-year-old girl trying to get the attention of the mean girls so they give her a cookie at lunchtime. That's really what it sounds like when you say blacks are brokies, but it certainly doesn't sound like he's looking out for us. All right, Rob, go ahead.
On behalf of the black community, I would like to apologize to the parents of Austin Metcalf for making a hero out of the young man that killed your son. I apologize that there are so few fathers around.
Wow! 15 seconds. 15 seconds. That's how long. That's a new record. That's a new record, Black Maga. Y'all on y'all game. Y'all up 15 seconds? He should have just started with black fathers. You know what I mean? And somebody's going to do that next. I bet it's going to be Laverne.
I apologize that there are so few fathers around and so few male figures around to teach the black community about emotional discipline, about what's right from wrong, about emotional regulation, about not making a hero out of a thug and a criminal.
Somebody say making a hero out of a thug and a criminal? Is that what somebody? I thought I heard somebody say making a hero out of thug and a criminal. I thought I heard something.
I apologize on behalf of the black community because they are the ones that are raising money for your son's killer. They are the ones.
I'm sorry, did you say they? I apologize on behalf of the black community because they? So you are speaking as not a part of the black community. So how are you apologizing on behalf of somebody that you are not a part of, apparently? Should have wrote this down first. You should have wrote it. You would have caught that. I mean, I know you don't consider yourself a part of the community, but you at least needed to be for the statement.
They are the ones that are funding this new lavish lifestyle that your son's killer is living. I apologize on behalf of the black community because they are so confused about, again, what's right and what's wrong, that in some weird, twisted sense of racial solidarity, they would celebrate the young man that killed your child in cold blood.
That's interesting. So you feel like he's being celebrated in racial solidarity. So you just completely poo-poo the actual facts of the case and waiting for it to litigate itself. You don't feel like he deserves any defense at all, right? You don't. Apparently, you have made up your mind, and you don't feel like he deserves any defense. That is what you were telling me. Why would that be? Why do you not believe that this should adjudicate itself and he should have an opportunity to defend himself? Why have you come to that conclusion? I mean, I know why. I'm waiting for you to say.
I apologize on behalf of the Black community because you don't deserve to see this. You deserve to be grieving your child. You deserve to be remembering your child. You deserve to be able to share stories about what an amazing human being and young man he was.
You know, I said that exact same thing about Sandra Bland. I said that exact same thing, and then I said about Breonna Taylor too. I said it, and I said it about Elijah McClain. I've actually said that quite a bit about quite a few people. They didn't deserve to have their loved ones mocked and slandered the way that they were after they had passed away. I'm wondering, did you address? No, none of them. Not one.
But instead, you're subject to online mobs that support the killer of your child. You are subject to people that are raising money to support the killer of your child. You are subjected to people in the Black community that are making excuses for the killer of your child and making your child seem that he is somehow at fault for being stabbed to death.
Now that's curious here, because we have this whole legal system, as Dr. Umar so eloquently put, that is supposed to adjudicate these things. But because you have decided what it is, then anything mitigating just becomes an excuse. Is that what you're saying? Because we have seen stand your ground, we've seen self-defense, we've seen manslaughter, we've seen a whole lot of outcomes of scenarios like this, which, by the way, happen in America every day. So I'm curious why you have made up your mind so quickly, and why you think because you've made up your mind that he is not entitled to due process. You've been listening to Victoria Sparks, haven't you?
So for what you are seeing on social media, for what you will continue to see for the next few months, I apologize to you on behalf of the Black community, because a lot of us are so bereft of empathy.
Now that's interesting. A lot of us are so bereft of empathy. So you just poo-poo the idea that somebody could empathize with Karmelo Anthony. That's not possible. That's not possible to empathize with Karmelo Anthony. Also, in the litany of cases that I have raised up to this point, it wasn't possible to empathize with any of them either, right? It's not possible to empathize with a Black victim, but you couldn't possibly empathize with Karmelo Anthony. The fact that you don't empathize and immediately side with Austin Matthews means you are bereft of empathy. Because Rob Smith says so. Yeah. The same guy, mind you, who said he could not vote for a Black woman because of the emotional abuse he suffered as a child. That's something that he admitted. Wants to talk about other people who are bereft of empathy.
A lot of us are so angry and hurt and bitter and damaged and trapped in cycles of pathology that we would make excuses for a young man that stabbed another young man to death. And we are so trapped in that pathology that we don't even know which way is up.
See, I wasn't even going to run the video. I wasn't even going to run the video. Rob Smith, this you?
The women that are telling black men that they have to vote for Kamala Harris, it is going to remind black men of every bitter baby mama. It is going to remind black men of every neck-swiveling, bad attitude, masculinized black woman that they have ever dealt with in their entire life. It is going to remind them of their single mothers and their aunties that basically verbally abused and disrespected them while they were growing up because the black men in their lives left them, and these young black men and these black boys were left to bear the brunt of that abuse. So all of these same types of black women are going to be running around trying to bully, denigrate, demean, and disrespect black men in order to get them in line behind Kamala Harris. These black men are going to say no, absolutely not. They will never, ever vote for this woman. The only black men that are going to get in line and listen to these women are the same black men who are going to get in line behind whatever Democrat, whatever lefty. These are the same ones that wear t-shirts that say, listen to black women and respect black women and vote for black women, all of that other stuff. But the real black men, okay, in this society, the ones that are actually entrepreneurs, the ones that are actually building things, the ones that actually lead their households, the ones that have not been completely cucked by liberalism and black women and all that stuff, these men are never going to vote for Kamala Harris, ever.
But yes, of course, we are the ones that are hurt and moving from pain. They say hurt people. And he made this video just to make us all suffer. That's what I think.
I apologize on behalf of the black community for their treatment towards your son's killer. And I can only hope that your child can rest in peace and that you can remember him as he was.
Now, I'd be very curious to look at the responses. We'll look at the responses to this in a second. But what I heard was, I apologize for being black. That's what I heard. I apologize for being black. And quite honestly, I bet that's not the first time you said that. You've given this speech before. In fact, I think that's what he told all the people he was at the Super Bowl party with about that Kendrick Lamar performance. On behalf of the black community, we offer Rob Smith as a sacrifice. Timeline Shambler. Really? First comment out the gate? Oh, it's Rachel True. All right, shout out to her. Rob doesn't just speak for the Uncle Tom Society. He's the president. Rob has a whole post about how jealous he is of me because I'm mixed. He'd sell his left nut to be more white. That's what you posted, Rob. You know what I mean? That's what you posted.
Toby be good for massa. Good. Don't send Toby away. Toby be good for your hand, boss. Good for your hand, massa.
That's all right, Toby. That's all right. You be a good field hand and you can stay here.
Toby stay. Toby stay. Toby be good now. Toby be real good.
That was James. James Evans. Let's just move on to the next comment.
You have to stop. Y'all keep talking. Huh? You keep talking, man. And you shut the fuck up.
Dick Gregory, the gift that keeps on giving. I love me some Dick Gregory. In other news, another troubled white person went to a college campus and shot and killed multiple people. Where's that speech? Curious. I'm curious. I wouldn't hold my breath to wait for that speech. And by the way, let's talk about the fact that there are Parkland students that were there at Florida State who experienced their second deadly school shooting in 7 years. But it's the black culture. It's the black culture. And yes, CJG Productions noticed what I did. If you're going to make an apology on behalf of someone, you should start saying we, not they, sir. Now, I'm sure Rob Smith will no doubt take these under advisement and change his tune and come to the realization of exactly how his criticisms of black culture should be characterized and reframed.
So everybody's talking about Karmelo Anthony and how he came from a good family and his family had money or whatever. What does that say about the culture that he came from a good family in a good home and still did what he did, was still running around like a hood rat, was still running around like a thug, was still running around like a criminal? Look at the children of these Hollywood celebrities. Look at T.I.'s kids. So those kids have been born and raised in money. Those kids have been born and raised in money their entire lives. They have known nothing but money, but yet still his son runs around like a thug and a hood rat. I believe that his son was in and out of jail. So what does it say about the culture when when we do raise children in wealth, when we do raise children in two-family households, when we do raise children in gated communities and all of these things that Karmelo Anthony apparently had, they still end up running around carrying a knife. They still end up running around interacting in thug and hood culture. They still run around trying to act like they're about that life when they haven't even been raised in that life. And that life is foreign to them. What does that say about the culture? What it tells me about the culture is that the culture is rotten. So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you have a two-parent home. It doesn't matter if you have all that money. If you are still engaging in that ratchet, degenerate, toxic culture, that is who you are going to end up being.
So you just want to strip away all the socioeconomic factors and we just violent and criminals because we black. Is that's it? You know, and even the kids when they raised in a good home, you know, with wealth. You know, kind of like Lauren Boebert's kid. Oh no, because we know how they came. Oh yeah, you're right, because they grew up with Lauren Boebert as a mom. So yeah, all right. So fair enough. So you're talking about like when they grow up in a good home. You talking about like Denzel's kids, or like Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids, or like the Obama daughters. You mean like that? You know what I mean? How they all running around and just wreaking havoc. I can tell you this because I was in D.C. When the Obama girls was here. I remember one time I saw one of them come in and they grabbed the whole. I've seen people come in and grab the chips out the front of the 7-Eleven. She grabbed the whole cart out the set, like bodied the whole cart, and somehow jerry rigged and got up. What you talking about, man? What you talking about? What you talking about? Look, I sit here and talk about politics, so those are the references that I know best. You out here talking about black people like they done dated Hope Hicks or somebody. You know what I mean? Whether it's Corey Lewandowski, Rob Porter, Brad Parscale, if you dealt with Hope Hicks, you've been down the county. You know what I mean? You out here talking about us like that or something like that. And granted, we understand that, and coming from a prep school myself, I know that my daddy knows the judge or our neighbor is an attorney got wore out when I was in high school. Absolutely wore out. So we don't even know the full aspect of criminality when it comes to the upper reaches of society, since you wanna make it about color and strip all that other stuff away. In fact, while we're on the topic, did we ever get to the bottom of that Cory Mills situation? Did we ever, y'all remember Cory Mills? The Florida Republican congressman who is denied allegations and is not facing charges in an incident, telling Politico that both he and the alleged victim have denied any such incident occurred, although the alleged victim is a 27-year-old woman who's not Mills' wife. Now, victim of what, you ask? According to a copy of the public indictment report forwarded to the Phoenix by the Metropolitan Police Department, officers responded to an apartment complex at 1:15 p.m. after they were called to the area for a reported assault. The report describes the investigation as simple assault by use of hands and feet. Police have requested an arrest warrant for Mills to be signed by Edward Martin Jr., the interim top prosecutor for the District of Columbia, as part of their investigation into the incident that was reported at a D.C. apartment. But Martin's office sent the warrant back unsigned and said the case needed further investigation. Yeah, I'm sure we will wait to hear the end of that investigation. And there's so much of that on y'all's side of the aisle. In fact, there is a whole chart right here of the litany of offenses. And this isn't even by kids. This is by actual representatives themselves. Since we want to talk about criminality, right? We're going to talk about criminality, and apparently that is a black thing. And what more would you expect from a party that elevated a 34-time convicted felon? What more would you expect? In fact, you want to talk about praising criminals. You guys made that into a rallying cry. You did. You made that into a rallying cry. I remember my man was wearing the convicted felon in the Biden t-shirt. Y'all made that into a rallying cry that he was a felon. And you want to talk about us defending criminals. He's the leader of your party. Huh? Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got Trump derangement syndrome. I guess I got Trump derangement syndrome. Speaking of which, how did the Minnesota state senator, who was the one who originally dubbed Trump derangement syndrome, get caught in a sting with some pretty nasty charges? That is GOP Senator Justin Iicorn of Grand Rapids, who was arrested back in March. Yeah, I'm not even going to dig deep into that because of how that is viewed on this particular platform. But trust and believe, if I wanted to go into my crimes against children bag, the thesis is going to be shaken to its core. Yeah, the thesis of the black criminality, yeah, that's just going to be shaken to its core. And how about this? Why don't we land the plane here? Because you want to talk about how even when they're raised in a good home and, you know, they're just criminals. I'm old enough to remember when being raised in a good home and coming from means was actually used as an excuse in court to mitigate the punishment. Yeah, affluenza. That wasn't us. And by the way, if you're scoring at home, he was arrested again. Yeah, he was arrested after getting away from 4 people losing their lives and arguing he was too rich to be held accountable for his actions. He continued to get in trouble. But it's the black culture. It is the black culture. Black Maga, this is low, even for y'all. Huh? There's more?
We're going to be talking about the killing of a 17-year-old boy at the hands of another 17-year-old boy. And this particular case is stirring up a lot of controversy online. There are racial talks happening, there's fundraising happening, and in this case, the fundraising for the alleged murderer is going better than the fundraising for the victim, Austin Metcalf. I'm not going to tell anybody who to donate to. I mean, put your money where your heart is. It doesn't really matter. But I will remind you, one individual is still alive. The other people who are going to be receiving money are receiving money for the funeral expenses of their 17-year-old who died over an altercation of standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, many will hear what I just said and say Austin Metcalf started that confrontation, though. He should have known that it was a possibility that he was going to lose his life. How many of us get in confrontations or minute arguments on any given day and don't expect at all to have a knife plunged into our heart? I'll have you think about that. Think about the last time you had a confrontation or conflict with anybody in your life, and then think about whether or not that conflict should have turned to you being stabbed and killed. I'll wait.
This dude who is y'all want to call me not a minister. What is everybody's name? Minister Dominique. First he gets up there, right? This is supposed to be about 2 children. One that was brutally killed by they got up there and act like the victim. They talked about race. And then he played the victim. Oh my God, I'm just so hard being black in America. And had the nerve to get up there and actually disrespect the president of the United States. right? He made this political. He made this about politics, right? And it's sad because it's going to make it harder on on Karmelo to get a good trial because he made this a national race war. Because he's a joke, complete joke.
They just launched a merch site to support Karmelo. I'm giving you guys the most honest take on the internet. If this was my son and I thought he was done wrong and I thought he was innocent, yeah, of course I would do everything they doing. The problem is what it appeared to have happened is egregious. This is not a kid that's a good kid. Maybe he's a good kid. You headed down the wrong mother freaking path. When you go to a Planned Parenthood more than anybody else, when your communities are failing and ratchet as a mother, when the education system in the inner city communities, primarily in black communities, are dismal, when y'all voting at 90% for one candidate and still lost in a landslide victory, historic landslide victory, when your murder rate amongst intraracial conflict is far beyond anybody else's, when the incarceration rate is where it's at, when the obesity rate, heart disease, diabetes, you name it, is running rampant amongst African Americans in this country, when you got all this going against you and you think this okay, if you don't change, you are going to be irrelevant.
You've achieved your award with a status for coolie. You understand it, so you win the coolie.
I'll be back. I'll be back. Don't worry about it. And Officer Tatum, you should know better. No, you should know better because I done already read you for filth for that other Karen job. All right, I got you next.